Today, guys, I'm going to share with you a strategy, and this is a strategy that I know that has helped me to become a better angler. There was a point a couple years ago where I just thought I was stagnant. I wasn't getting any better, and so I started doing a little research, talking to other fellow anglers, and then even having some of my mentors come in place, and I put this plan together, and I know it has helped me take that next level up. And so I'm going to share with you guys this strategy, and it implements your time in a fishing day. We're going to talk about how do you use your time with electronics, fishing history, and fishing new water. Hey, stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this. So when you hear this strategy, this plan of action that I'm about to share, it's in percents, okay? We're going to talk about a full fishing day. Let's say you have an 8-hour day, or it could be a 6 to 8 hour day. I like to break up that day into 3 separate categories, okay? And we're going to talk about percents of how to use your day with those categories. So I'm going to talk about 50, 30, 20. So how we use 50% of our day, 30% of our day, and then 20% of our day. Now you might have heard of the 50, 30, 20 method on budgeting, okay? I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to budget your money. This is just another way that, I like to study, budget. I like to study money stuff, this and that. And when I heard the 50, 30, 20, I thought about fishing, of how to use a day. So, and the great thing about this, you don't have to go by 50, 30, 20. Make this fit how you want it to fit. And I'm just sharing with you guys how I made it work for me. And at times it can be adjusted, okay? So as we go through this, just know that it is not a set in stone deal. So we're going to talk about how to break up that day into 3 spots, 50, 30, 20. We're going to talk about how much of the percent of your day to use with graphing, using your electronics, how much of your day to use fishing history, and I mean history as in fishing spots that you have whacked them at before, caught big fish at, true history spots. And then we're going to talk about fishing new water, okay? So first let's talk about the electronics and graphing side. So with the electronic side, I'm talking of truly sitting down and idling in your boat, okay? Now, there's a lot of different things you can do when you're idling and using your electronics, okay? Now, for some of you people, if you do not have the side scan, down scan capabilities, let's say you have the map and 2D sonar, you can still idle and get information just with your 2D sonar. I know for me, early in my fishing career, that's all I had, okay? Now when I fished with Johnny and other people, they got on the side scan and down scan really, really early, okay? And I know for me, I just didn't have that technology as a young angler. I just didn't have the money. I mean, it just didn't work out. So I had the 2D sonar and the mapping, and then of course I later got the electronics, and there we go. So with this, okay, I'm talking of how do you use your time graphing, and this is one of the biggest things the pros do. Now Johnny, for example, if you watch Fish the Moment, know Johnny, he has said it in countless videos. He graphs 4 hours a day typically, and that's true, guys. Now think about it, 4 hours a day, if it's an 8-hour fishing trip, that's 50% of your time that he's graphing. So for me, I typically do not graph 50% of my time, okay? Now, in a situation, let's say if I get back into tournament fishing and really get serious with it, I'm probably going to go graph that much, because that's what the professionals do. They get on these bodies of water and they graph and they graph and they try to figure out the little subtle changes, or they try to find out the bottom, where the bait's at in different parts of the lake. And for me, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go graph for 50% of your day. Now, if you do want to get better as an offshore angler, you probably need to go graph 50% of the day and figure out how to use that side and down scan imaging, okay? But for me, what helped me step that next that next stage up, I started graphing at least 20 to 30%. Right now, I like to do 30% of my day is graphing. And if it's an 8-hour fishing day, guys, 30% is, it's almost, 2.5, 3 hours at times, okay? That's one beauty of this method, the 50, 30, 20 method I'm sharing, is it can kind of change on your day. So for me, 30% of my day, I'm going to use my unit at my steering wheel and try to figure out what's going on. And it can be, not just trying to find specific spots. I like to try to find out where the bait fish is at. I like to try to find out little, changes, and just try to go, look and see if I can find a little unique spot somewhere, and just use it to just try to just get an advantage and just kind of figure out the lake. And with it too, with me, it kind of calms me down, just lets me relax instead of getting up there and just go, and go. So for me, out of the 50, 30, 20 way, the first thing we're here is talking about the electronics. I like to use the electronics at least 30% of my day. Now let's talk about fishing history and where you need to put the fishing history in your day of fishing. So as I mentioned earlier, history to me is a spot you know you can catch them at or have caught them at before. Now, one thing that I think a lot of anglers struggle with, and this was me early in my fishing career, y'all, fishing Washita, DeGray, and some of our other smaller lakes in central Arkansas. I got into fishing history way too much, okay? And you hear a lot of guys, and I even saw the other day on Facebook, someone mentioned, oh, I'm gonna go make the milk run today. And that's one thing I even hear now, oh, we made our milk run this evening. And they might not have caught many fish. It's just, you know, I know fishing that's one beauty about our sport. You don't go out every day and whack them. I know you watch some professionals on Major League Fishing at times just go whack them, and that's what you think it is, and we all know it's not. I mean, those pros struggle just as much as we do at times, and they just know how to make adjustments better on the fly. Thank you for watching another video on Bass Fishing Declassified, brought to you by Fish the Moment. After the video, go to fishthemoment.com and check out some of the latest sonar settings guides that were created and done by Johnny Schultz. Johnny has put these settings guides together for you so you get the most out of your unit that you spend a lot of money on. These are guides that he has put together, that he's had all these graphs on his boat, and he has put these guides together to help you make sure you get the most out of your unit. Now let's get back to the video to get fish to bite, okay? Because they're on the water a lot more than me and you. But fishing history, I believe, is one of the biggest struggles. And this is where, when I took that next step up, is when I quit fishing history, okay? And now, yeah, there are times like on these smaller lakes, and I'm going to get to talking about fishing new areas and new parts of the lake and how this is going to make you a better angler. But I went to fishing history at least 20% of my day, okay? Now, when it's a bigger body of water, hey, there's so much more areas to fish. But when you're on a smaller lake, like I am right now, hey, when you start fishing new water, you start figuring the lake out. And if you do have some of your holes or some of your brush piles or spots that you catch them at, try to use that method somewhere else, okay? Just don't always go back to your history spots and fish and fish and fish. You're just gonna stay right here as an angler. Like I said, why not try to take that next step up and find some new spots or find a new way to catch fish? Now, let's say you are fishing with one of your buddies and you want to go catch fish. Yeah, hey, go ahead. Like I said, this method of fishing, this strategy of your day, use it how you want. If it's one of your good old buddies, hey, yeah, go ahead and fish all your good honey holes, okay? But I'm telling you, if you as an angler personally want to get better, you need to quit fishing history. This is one thing that Johnny said. Johnny's a good friend of mine. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I fished with him at Table Rock. I saw, when the time I was with him at Table Rock, you know, this August, I saw in his unit all of his spots marked. And we just didn't go back to him. He went out there, idled around, did his thing, and I was like, hey, what about that? He's like, oh, I caught him there that time. He goes, that's not right now, though. I mean, and he started sharing it, and that was just even a more eye-opener that made me feel better. And what I've been doing lately is trying to find new bodies of water and new areas to fish, okay? So, hey, let's go ahead and go to that biggest chunk of the pie, the 50%. And that's the one that I believe, guys, if you want to take your next step, this is how you need to manage your day, and that is fishing new water. So this part of my strategy, I believe, is the biggest part in stepping your game up as an angler. And for me, it's a confidence booster. When you spend half of your day fishing new water and you're trying to figure out how to catch fish in the new water, okay? And then when you finally do catch fish, I'm telling you guys, your confidence will grow, and you're also going to learn as an angler. Even if you don't catch fish, it is okay. It might be a timing deal. As you know, when you go out there and check a new hump that you've not fished, you see the bait fish and you see bass, or you might not know if they're bass or not. You know, you might still be learning your electronics. If you don't give them a bite, it could be a timing thing. And then next time you go out to the lake, you might need to try it at a different time. Okay, now for me, and guys that are listening, like I'm on a smaller lake right now. Now this lake will hold 60 boat tournaments, okay? So it's still a good sized lake, and you can, you know, there's a lot of area here. But I know for me, that's helped me become a better angler at this lake is about the last 2 years, half of my day fishing is fishing new water, okay? It is trying to find a way to catch fish in new water. And sometimes those spots, guys, are spots that are similar to other areas that, you know, I might have caught them at, you know, on the lake that are kind of close, and I might not make it happen, or I might. But with that too, you might learn of other, you know, certain things at the lake. It could be, you know, a certain brush pile. It could be how fish set up. And that when you start doing that and then catching fish, and even like I said, not catching fish, you're learning. Now for guys on your bigger bodies of water, I'm talking, it could be the TVA, it could be, I know Lake Okeechobee's a big body of water for my Florida guys, and even, your guys that are in your highland reservoirs that are just giant reservoirs. A good big size reservoir close to me, a highland one, is Lake Ouachita. I mean, it's 44,000 square feet or square acre, whatever they call it, but it has a lot of river arms and coves and fingers, and guys, you can get lost out there. I mean, and those fish will hide. Some of those fish in there, I mean, I've heard Spencer Sheffield even say it. He thinks some of them fish have not ever seen an Alabama rig. That's just how much different parts of the lake there is. Now, for me, I used to get intimidated by that body of water, but now I don't. Like I said, when I was growing up, there was one section of the lake, and you guys that know that are watching this, there's one section of the lake that I love, and I would always stay there. And then my last year fishing that lake, I started adventuring out and trying new sections of the lake. And then when I started finally catching fish, my confidence grew, okay? And then I moved and went further south, and I'm now fishing new bodies of water the last 4 years that I've never been on. All of a sudden I had to fish new water, and my confidence grew as I started figuring out little ways, and then I can go back to my home lakes, put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and I'll go anywhere and try to catch a fish. It's not intimidating as it once was. And guys, when you see the professionals, if it was always based off history, then I mean Kevin Van Dam would probably win every tournament on Kentucky Lake or the TVAs when he was rolling. I mean, you see Gunnersville, I mean, you see those guys, I mean, they're not going back to the same spots. I mean, they're going back and learning. And I think some of your younger professionals coming up, your Brandon Poliniks, your Jacob Wheelers, are some of the best at just putting out history and finding out how to fish the moment at that given point. Now, one little tip real quick on fishing new water that I used to help me break down some of these lakes close to me. And even a Lake Fork, for example. I don't fish Fork much. I try to go 3 times a year, but even there, that's a hard place just to not go back and go to where, I might have caught 30 pounds out on the spot, okay? But with that, like one of my lakes nearby has 8 ramps, okay? When I first got here, I would launch at a different ramp and try to figure out that area, okay? Sometimes I wouldn't even start the big motor. So for some of your lakes, they might be bigger lakes, okay, right? Go ahead and pick a ramp out and then fish that section. And you don't just got to fish it one time. Definitely if it's a big body of water, you can go there for a whole season and try to figure it out. Or like I said, just try to expand on where you fish. Now, if you're like, hey, Jimmy, that's I don't want to fish new water, I like my holes, hey, that is your deal. Like I said, this strategy here was just one that helped me step my game up from right here to here, and I wanted to share it with you guys today. Hey, so if you're still watching, go ahead and let me know what you like to do in a typical day. If like for me, half my day is new water, 30% of my day is electronics, 20% is history. Share with me what you guys like and what you think of this strategy, and if you're going to go ahead and implement it. Hey, thank you guys for watching Bass Fishing Declassified. Hey, stay tuned for the next video. We appreciate all you guys watching.